I really love those old Smokey and the Bandit movies. You had Burt Reynolds, Jackie Gleason, Jerry Reed, and Dom DeLuise. They were all great, but there was one person who really classed up those movies. I'm talking about Sally Field, of course. That lady had a way of making anything that she was in better. Burt Reynolds knew it. That's why he made a personal call to her to ask her to be in that first Smokey and the Bandit movie. It was the very first time that they had ever spoken, and it would lead to one of Burt's biggest regrets in life. But before we get to that, let me introduce myself. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and I like to think of myself as something of a pop culture historian, at least when it comes to music, movies, and television. Simply put, I love talking about this stuff. Alright, with that said, let's get rolling. While I didn't get to see either of the Smokey and the Bandit movies in the theater when they were originally released, thanks to the miracle of VCRs, I finally did get my chance to see both movies in the early 80s, and like I said, I thought these things were perfectly cast. You had Reynolds, who was awesome as the Bandit, who was going to net a quick $80K if he could just deliver 400 cases of beer from Texarkana to Atlanta in 28 hours, and Jackie Gleason was the man duty bent to stop him, and Sally, well, she was the runaway bride who just happens to hitch a ride with the Bandit. Of course, Reynolds and Field were both pretty big stars by the time they came together for Smokey and the Bandit, but they were TV stars. That's where they'd gotten their start. I remember Burt from shows like Gunsmoke, where he co-starred along with James Arness for a couple of seasons as Quint, Dodge City's rough and tumble blacksmith who was part Native American. There were other shows, lots of them in fact, but I remember him best in Gunsmoke. And I remember Sally best as Gidget. And one of my favorite shows when I was a kid, The Flying Nun. Now getting back to Burt and Sally and Smokey and the Bandit, the sequel wasn't as good as the original, but it was still fun and US movie-going audiences ate it up. Perhaps even more importantly, that sequel provided Burt with ample opportunity to work closely with Sally, with whom he had been having a romantic relationship since the very first movie. According to both Burt and Sally, they were immediately attracted to each other, and within days, they felt like they'd known each other for years. Unfortunately, as with many relationships, especially those in Hollywood, this one didn't work out. Both actors went on to marry other people, with Burt most famously marrying Lonnie Anderson, his co-star in the movie Stroker Ace. If you think that Burt's marriage to Lonnie was his biggest regret, well, I'm going to tell you right now, that's not it. For you see, Burt laid it all out in his 2015 autobiography, But Enough About Me, where he shared his thoughts about all of his relationships, as well as his many triumphs and tragedies throughout his life. And you know what was his biggest regret? At least when it came to love, it was this lady. Burt called her the love of his life, the one who got away, and furthermore talked about the tremendous talent that Sally demonstrated on screen whenever the two of them worked together. Truly, Burt was smitten with his former co-star, decades after they had parted ways. So that's it, his biggest regret. Did Sally feel the same way? Well, based on pretty recent interviews with her that can be found right here on YouTube, I'd say the answer is a resounding negatory, Ghost Rider. When I think about Burt Reynolds' career, I've got to admit it was one with a bunch of highs and quite a few lows. While it seemed like there wasn't a bigger star than Burt in 1980, by the time the 90s rolled around, Burt had returned to the medium that had made him famous. Yep, good old TV. Evening Shade wasn't a bad show. In fact, at times it was a very good show. Still, it's amazing to think that Burt's star had fallen so quickly. I'm not sure who coined the phrase "fame is fleeting," but whoever it was, holy cow Batman, they were spot on. Now I know there's way more to the Burt Reynolds story, but that, my friends, is a video for another day. I'll tell you what though, if you stick around, I've got another video about Sally Field that I think you'll really enjoy. I'll put a link to that one at the end of this video. Now it's your turn. Please let me know what you think and share your memories in the comments section. And while you're at it, I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I would be absolutely honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and mostly TV from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.